Hey, you guys. Happy Friday. It's Kim. Just a quick message that has been really rocking my world. I read this book. It came on my awareness called The Rabbit Effect. Anybody read that? The Rabbit Effect um, is the premise. I haven't finished it yet, but I could barely get through the introduction without. I was driving in the U-Haul. We moved our kids from Oregon to Arizona, and I'm like ready just to scream, jumping up and down by myself in the U-Haul listening to this book. It's tons of statistics in it, so I have it in print as well coming, but I listened to it on Audible. And the rabbit effect is this. Sorry for people. My daughter-in-law's a vegan, so this was a little bit of a hard thing to hear, this part of the story. But they experiment on animals to find out, how it affects humans. And one of the experiments, this woman, Kelli Harding, I think, wrote the book. Let me give her credit because it's phenomenal. Yeah, Kelli Harding. She's got all kinds of initials after her name, went to prestigious medical schools, fellowships, but saw anomalies that were happening in the medical world that medical science couldn't explain. And so those caught her attention. She went to kind of go look at these offs in the medical world and discovered this study that was done in New Zealand with white male rabbits. And they were showing, I think their premise is that eating high fat foods caused, hardening of the arteries, high cholesterol, early death, heart disease. And so this group of rabbits that they did this test on, of course, in science, you're very careful about everything's monitored and make sure all the factors are as they should be. But they noticed results were not showing up like what they expected. There was a huge, hey, my brother. There was a huge amount of rabbits that did not have the outcomes they were expecting. And they're like, well, wow, is our premise theory completely wrong? So they started really looking into the different factors of the experiment. And they couldn't find anything. So then they went to the researchers themselves that were actually doing the work with the rabbits themselves. They watched what time they were eating, how much they were eating, blah, 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 making sure all the protocols were the same. Well, this is where I started jumping up and down. They found one of the rabbit raisers, researchers, scientists, that did everything the same as everyone else, except this woman talked to the rabbits and loved on them. I have family that have raised animals for slaughter, and they typically don't become friends or have any kind of pet emotion towards these animals because they know they're just going to be food. And so for this researcher to talk, show kindness, she cuddled them, she loved on them, and it made 60% difference in the amount of heart disease, like their actual body results were different from all the other rabbits that were just given the food. And we've heard these kind of examples before with water, with plants, speaking to plants. But this one just hit me so hard because of the work I'm doing and the work I'm excited about doing and what I feel passionate about is this woman showed the result on the rabbit of being shown kindness. And so far in her, sorry, I'm not sorry. So far in her data that I've heard so far, she's related it as when you show kindness to someone, the impact it has on them. But who is the number one person that needs to be shown kindness is to ourselves. We can't love anyone or anything more than we love ourselves and have that alignment to who we really are at the deep level. And most of us don't know that. We maybe know it cerebrally, but we haven't emotionally felt the love that we are and that we are at our core. And I had a call with someone in my program this morning, which is also why I'm very emotional right now, because she struggled with RA for years. She's gone through all the gamuts of medication and counseling and therapy. And she tells me this morning she's been in my my rewiring program, and the weight loss component as well for a couple weeks. And she goes, I have never felt so much peace. And yeah, she's lost weight. But the RA doctor said, I've never seen the numbers. I've never seen numbers do what your numbers have done with their rheumatoid arthritis numbers. The doctor told her recently, I can't believe the difference. And I asked her this morning, I said, so do you put it at the feet? Because she's been on the weight loss program since like January. She's lost good weight. And but it's just been in the last few weeks since she's been doing the rewiring exercises, the love, the self-love, the aligning to who I really am exercises that I lead every day, or a group meets every day, and I do it now. I'm bringing it into my weight loss world. And I said, what do you really, honestly, don't tell me something you think I want to hear. Tell me the actual data, like a scientist. And she goes, absolutely, no doubt. It is because of this work I'm doing with my rewiring to this love. She goes, I haven't felt this much peace. I've been going to therapy for years and years and years, and I cannot tell you how much these have made a difference for me. And she goes, I know that is what my RA doctor is referring to. So I want to just bring awareness about a couple of things I've noticed. My program is flippin' amazing physically. Like, I lost 50 pounds in 4 months, 14 years ago. People will lose weight, but I've noticed that there are different people at different places internally, different identities, I call them. I have them on a scale from 1 to 10. And people that struggle with their weight, which is just a symptom of a deeper issue. In fact, there are lots of people that don't struggle with their weight specifically. That isn't their area where it shows up. They have anxiety. They have addictions to other things. An outward addiction is just this, it's a secondary addiction. The addiction is really at that deep emotion thought level of the wiring, our corrosion that of the world we were raised in with fear-based wiring that is telling us these things that are driving these emotional cortisol, adrenaline. Those are physically addicting, and we will stay in that addiction of these emotions because of the wounds we have when we were kids. I mean, that's what my book's really all about. Hope you can read it, Monster Under the Bed. But my point, what it hit me the other day is, and I've probably said something about this already, is that when you have these deep wounds, she talks about even in the book, obesity. Again, I have to go read the statistics, but it's like in the high 80% of people who struggle with adult obesity have traumatic, abusive childhoods. Now, what I know from my book research is it can be real abuse or it can be perceived abuse. But to a little kid, it's the same, because I don't have another part of my brain developed to offset when someone said, shut up to me, or go clean your room, or got mad, or spanked me, or whatever. My little brain, I didn't have the tools to process that other than I'm not okay. That was my only answer. So whether it was someone physically, sexually, emotionally, spiritually, verbally abusing me in reality, or I was just subject to my inaccurate emotional survival brain wiring, which we all are, there is no one that escapes childhood abuse on one of those scales. So when we look at the rampant issues we have now with weight specifically, because food was all of our choice, that was our drug of choice growing up, or we were given it to as punishment, or taken away as punishment, given it to as a reward. It's our wiring. It's just in our life, intrinsic, like breathing to us is food, and we do have to eat to live. So these are the conundrums we run into. But when I look at what I want to do in my program specifically now, that does have a very powerful weight loss component, it's almost like I want to pull people back from focusing on that. I don't want to be, I use the example of like a boot camp personal trainer, which has a place in the world. I love that when people get physically fit and they go and they have that kind of that energy of like, let's go, push yourself hard, 95 hard, or whatever these things are that are happening. Oh, go, ha, 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 right? There's a place for that if I'm in the vicinity of that identity to begin with. But if I'm on the scale of 1 to 10, maybe that's a 9 or a 10, identity person that just needs that extra push. But if I'm a 3 on that identity scale because of the failures that I've had in my life, especially around weight, maybe I've yo-yoed, but it's all coming back from an emotional wound. I think of myself more as like an emotional physical therapist. Because physical therapy, if you go to a physical therapist, it's usually because you have an injury, right? They're not going to sit there and go, come on, get that physical, lift that weight. They're going to go, wait, you got a pulled hamstring? Okay, well, let's just do some of these stretches. Let's be gentle, but let's do it. Let's just be gentle, right? The messaging is completely different. So when I look at what I want to do in my program, in the world in general, I want to be an emotional physical therapist. And guess what? It's happening all the time. Reports are coming. When people start getting this alignment to who they are, this love, this rabbit effect, when they start really feeling it, not just knowing it here, but actually moving it to internally rewiring to the love they already are, it heals the wounds. And guess what happens externally? I don't want that. I don't go eat 12 donuts anymore because I'm living in such constant judgment about how bad I am. In fact, the one donut led me to another, led me to 5 more. Because man, dang it, I failed again. Oh, shoot. I'm so bad. Okay, what's your survival brain gonna do? Go eat more donuts because that's obviously you need, and it's feels good food. It's comfort food. Who gave donuts comfort food label? It's marketing. It's based on the survival brain of absolutely making you feel better in the moment, but it's going to exacerbate the wound. You're just like pouring fuel on that fire of I'm not good enough. So these are the things I'm excited about bringing. I want to just say, come on, you guys, let's go. Because if you seek ye first the kingdom, right? Like this is your alignment to who you are is the kingdom, is love. And then all these things, don't go focus out here because that's not going to sustain you. You can lose weight on magic food. Absolutely. I did it with magic food. I did it with this amazing nutrition program that is flippin' awesome. But people get confused thinking the program is that weight loss component, and it's not. The program is actually just being in an environment where you can be healed and be loved and learn these tools of loving yourself and aligning to that. And then guess what? Your intrinsic desires are going to just change and you're going to want to eat healthier. You're going to want to move your body. You're just going to want to. It's not going to be willpower based. I see it happening all the time. Anyway, read the book if you want, The Rabbit Effect. It is rocking my world, confirming so many things. And I just wanted to get the message out to everybody about all of it. You are loved. You are worthy. You are perfect right now as you are. Didn't ever need to do anything. You don't have to do anything now. You already are. Oh, that's so hard to hear, isn't it? Anyway, love you.